Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about some balance changes which are coming into the game with NGS version 2, and they are freaking amazing. But before we talk about that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So first things first, as we can see here, announcements, balance adjustments coming on June 7th, 2023. So this is when version 2 comes out, and the first big thing is right here. This is something they should have implemented maybe like 3 years ago at the very least on the global server. But nevertheless, we finally get it, and it is a ginormous change. Unlocking the ability to redistribute skill points. Following NGS version 2 update, you'll be able to freely assign skill points to each class without needing to use AC, SG, or an item. Accordingly, moving forward, please be advised that the end reset all skills will not be distributed when balance adjustments are made. You can continue to use the reset and move skill tree and reset all skill tree items. So you can still use the items if you have them, but you don't need to use them anymore. So basically you can respec whenever you want for free, which is absolutely amazing. This is a ginormous change, and finally something, Sega's giving back to the community instead of charging us for silly things. So I'm very happy to see that we get this. So this is a huge dub for us. Next up over here is a bunch of balance adjustments for every single class except for 2. First of all is the Slayer. As you can see, Slayer is not here simply because Slayer is the new kid around the block, and Sega just feels like it's in a good place, so there's no changes for it. Now the second class that didn't get any changes is of course the Katana Braver. As you guys know, the Katana Braver is pretty much the gold standard of how strong all the other classes should be, and so obviously it did not get any changes. However, the Bravery class did get some balance adjustments because of the bow, of course. As we all know, the bow could definitely use some love. And as we can see here, they are getting the attention they needed. Bow Illusion Plus, increased potency here, increased potency, increased potency, increased potency. They pretty much just increase the damage for every single photon art that the Bow Braver has, which hopefully will bring it up to par with the Katana Braver, because the bow just needs more damage. That's my personal opinion at least. I feel like they need to be able to hit a lot harder in order to be more competitive compared with the Katana. So this is definitely something I am pretty excited about, because I've always wanted to use the bow, but the damage was just so lackluster that you were better off just using the Katana by itself and just ripping and tearing with that instead. But with all of these potency increases, as well as the adjusted potency allocation, this might make the bow a little bit more attractive to use. And on top of that, we are also getting new skills with this patch. Now they didn't cover what the new skills are yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to see what they do with the bow in order to make it a little bit more accessible, a little bit less clunky, and just a lot more powerful. Now as for the rest of the adjustments over here, the TLDR is they're basically buffing every single class to the same tier as Katana Braver. Katana Braver, as I've said many times before, is the gold standard, and that is what every single class should feel like. They need to bring up the damage numbers. They need to make all the class feel buttery smooth and bring up the fluidity so that it feels good to play every single class. So all of these adjustments over here is a step in the right direction, but I don't want to bore you guys by reading each one at a time. Just understand that they're basically making all the classes a lot stronger so that it can compete with the Katana. But there are a few honorable mentions that I would like to touch on, and the first one is the Ranger. So the Blight round over here, this is the biggest thing that a lot of people have been like, tearing their hair out. And the issue with the Blight round was you could only apply one Blight round on the enemy, and then if another Ranger applied another Blight round, it would overwrite yours. But now they've changed it to allow the same enemy to be hit by a Blight round from each player. For those who don't understand how impactful this is, I think this picture over here will demonstrate it a lot better. So if you have a bunch of Rangers, you're able to Blight round multiple spots now, and each Ranger has its own Blight round. So it's freaking amazing. Even if Rangers decide to troll, or maybe you want people to focus on the leg, or focus on the chest, or focus on the canister at the back, you can now just shoot your own Blight round and it's not gonna go away, and people are gonna be able to see it. So if you do decide to run a limited time quest quest with like 10 rangers, you can technically put 10 blight rounds on the enemy and just have every single part become a weakness, which is freaking amazing. So I freaking love this change. So for rangers, the blight round change is probably the biggest change over here. Now, of course, they've changed a lot of other things over here, basically just making the class feel a little bit more smoother. As you can see, it's just increased potency across the board and relaxed sidestep canceling, relaxed weapon action canceling. So your window to sidestep as well as iframe is going to be a lot easier, and you just get more damage overall. Now, another class I want to touch on is of course the gunner, because I know a lot of gunner mains have been suffering for a very long time, and they finally made some changes for the twin machine guns. The TLDR again is just increased potency across the board, as well as allow you to animation cancel between all of your different photon arts and just make your life a lot easier, a lot more fluid. This is very nice. So in conclusion, the biggest change that is happening is the ability to reset any of your skill points and your skill trees for free. That is the biggest change and the most welcome change that we're finally getting. This is a huge win to the player base. The second big change is of course all of the class balancing. The TLDR for this is they're literally just giving more damage to every single class except for the Katana Braver as well as the Slayer, because those two classes are already perfectly fine. And on top of that, they've also allowed animation canceling for a lot of classes during your photon arts in order to make the classes feel a lot more fluid, and they've also increased the iframe duration for a lot of the classes, so it just feels good to play the class now. I'm really happy that Sega decided to go in this direction. They could have very easily just nerfed the Braver as well as nerfed the Slayer, but instead of taking the easy route, they decided to buff everything to the gold standard, which in my personal opinion is the Katana Braver, in the level of fluidity, in the level of damage, and the level of funness. So I'm really happy that they've decided to go that direction, and I hope they continue to do this, and I can't wait to see what new skills we will get in NGS version 2. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!